The battle rages on as Dong-wook yells, "I'll leave them to you!" Hunter Cha swiftly drives her sword into the ground, activating her skill, provoking quake. A powerful tremor shakes the battlefield, slowing the advancing ants and buying valuable time for the S-rank tanker to reach the queen. Meanwhile, the cameraman stands frozen in shock as voices over the radio announce that viewership has surged by 80%. Urged to get closer, he hesitates as Byung-gu forcefully pulls him back, cautioning that an S-rank boss lurks here, and no one can guarantee his safety. Back home, spectators across South Korea watch the raid with growing anticipation. Their nation stands on the brink of making history, possibly joining the elite group of countries that have successfully conquered an S-rank gate. Meanwhile, Dong-wook takes command, instructing Baek to leap onto him so he can tear into the queen's legs. From the rear, Tae-gyu launches precise shots, striking the Ant Queen's face. Enraged, the queen spews acid, burning the hunters. But before it can cause critical harm, Byung-gu quickly heals them, taunting, "If you wanted to defeat us, you should have aimed that attack at me." The queen lunges forward, attempting to sink her teeth into the healer, but Dong-wook reacts in time, barely intercepting her massive jaws. "I won't let you take down our healer that easily," he declares. At that moment, the ultimate soldier commands everyone to retreat. He engulfs the queen in roaring flames, then detonates them in a devastating explosion. For a brief moment, victory seems within reach. However, before the hunters can celebrate, the queen releases an ear-piercing screech. A wave of unease washes over the hunters as they try to comprehend what just happened. Elsewhere, Sugimoto informs Goto that their noise-jamming technology has stopped working. The ants are now swarming back toward the tunnel. Goto, perplexed by the sudden change, questions the situation while Hunter Cha swiftly decapitates the queen, wondering if the battle has finally ended. Tae-gyu then asks whether they have officially become one of the 7 countries to clear an S-rank gate. Yet Baek Yun-ho senses something is wrong. In the next instant, Ma Dong-wook raises the alarm, warning the other hunters that the ants are returning to the tunnel. Confusion spreads as the hunters struggle to make sense of the abrupt shift. That's when Choi realizes his flame barrier has been destroyed. An overwhelming pressure fills the cavern, paralyzing everyone with fear. Suddenly, an ant steps into view and releases a deafening screech, signaling the arrival of a new, terrifying menace. The arrival of the powerful ant overwhelms the hunters with its terrifying presence. Hunter Cha collapses to her knees, unable to withstand the immense pressure. Dong-wook realizes the grave situation, but finds himself frozen as the creature strides past him with ease. The ant halts at the queen's severed head and lets out an enraged screech. The overwhelming pressure forces the hunters to the ground. Cha struggles to get up when, in an instant, the ant appears behind her, delivering a backhand so powerful that it sends her flying into the wall. Dong-wook calls out for her, but before he can act, the ant nearly teleports in front of him, shattering his shield and breaking his arm with a single strike. Dong-wook attempts to fight back with his other arm, only for the ant to grab it effortlessly and tear it off. The creature then approaches Baek, who tries to retaliate, but the ant simply walks through him, slashing him without hesitation. The ultimate soldier Tae-gyu enters the fray, confident he won't miss his shot, but the beast catches his arrow mid-flight, snapping it in half before backhanding him through his own bow. At this moment, Dong-wook charges at the winged ant, declaring that as long as Byung-gu is alive, they still have a chance. It is revealed that the S-rank healer has a skill called disguise, allowing him to conceal his presence completely. However, there's a significant downside. He is unable to move while using this skill. The giant hunter throws a punch at the ant, but it dodges effortlessly, grabbing his foot and hurling him across the room like a rag doll. Byung-gu grows anxious as the ant's gaze locks onto him, sending a wave of fear through him as it draws nearer. Hunter Baek screams at Byung-gu to escape, but it's already too late. The ant's arm punches straight through his chest. With the S-rank healer on the brink of death, the one-sided massacre continues to unfold. With the ant's arm still impaled through his chest, Byung-gu desperately urges Baek to escape before the monstrous creature crushes his head. However, driven by rage, Baek launches himself at the beast. The ant reacts instantly, seizing him by the throat and shocking the hunter by speaking in the voice of his fallen comrade. It taunts Baek's weakness, revealing its terrifying ability to absorb power and knowledge from its prey. Then, in a chilling moment, the ant asks, "Who is your king?" But before Baek can respond, the ant senses a powerful presence outside. Declaring its intent to face this new force, it releases Baek and swiftly takes flight out of the tunnel. Disoriented and alarmed, Baek struggles to his feet, realizing the rest of the ants are now swarming toward them. Meanwhile, Alpha Team surveys the area as Ishida notes that communication has been lost with both Charlie and Delta teams. Concerned by the sudden signal failure, Goto contacts Bravo Team. Kanai reports that they are still operational, but can only establish contact with Alpha. When Kanai suggests investigating further, Goto dismisses the idea, instructing them to complete their current mission and regroup. At that moment, Goto's communication device beeps. President Matsumoto is on the line. Off the coast of China, a ship captain discusses Japan's involvement in assisting the Koreans. He speculates that this mission is an attempt to elevate Goto Ryuji to the status of a national-level hunter. His co-captain agrees, pointing out that every national hunter has cleared at least one S rank, yet Goto remains the only exception. The captain, however, doubts the official narrative, suspecting that Japan is merely using this opportunity to boost their public image. Regardless of their motives, he remains unconvinced of Goto's strength, comparing him unfavorably to Liu Zhigang. Back on the island, Goto hesitates before reporting the casualties to Matsumoto, who coldly dismisses the losses, stating that only the strong hold any value. The president then asks if the Korean team is engaging the Queen, to which Goto confirms, adding that an unforeseen disruption in their jamming signals has caused all the ants to retreat into the tunnels. When Matsumoto inquires about the Koreans' chances of survival, Goto replies bluntly, 0%. Without hesitation, Matsumoto orders an immediate withdrawal, revealing the true purpose of the operation, the deliberate abandonment of the South Korean hunters. Goto relays the command to his team, stating they can recover the bodies at a later time. Just then, the ant bursts toward Goto with incredible speed. He reacts, blocking the attack, but in an instant, the creature decapitates Ashita. Recognizing that this ant is on an entirely different level, Goto swiftly orders Minoru to regroup with the others, knowing he would only be a hindrance in this fight. Ryuji, sensing the overwhelming pressure radiating from the creature, watches as the ant turns to Goto and asks, "Are you the king?" Without hesitation, Goto asserts, "Yes, I am the king." But the ant unleashes an ear-splitting screech, exuding an immense aura of power. At that moment, a horrifying realization dawns on Goto. This presence, "I've felt it before," he thinks, recalling Jinwoo. Before he can react, his blade fractures, and his head falls. Meanwhile, Choi Jong-in holds off the incoming ants as Baek asks if he can amplify his flames. The ultimate soldier warns that doing so would consume the remaining oxygen they have left. Despite Byung-gu's efforts to minimize the damage, their injuries leave them incapable of continuing the battle. At this point, their only hope lies in Choi's fire. As Baek spots more ants converging from the sides, he wonders if this is where it all ends. But then, from his shadow, a black knight materializes, intercepting the incoming swarm. Elsewhere, Jinwoo watches from the city, uttering a single command: "Exchange."